Hey guys, so there's been a running joke for years that musicians, or just maybe people in general who date Erykah Badu, are permanently changed by the experience. The two main examples, the two probably most well-known examples, are Common and Andre 3000. That before they were dating Erykah Badu, they dressed this way and their music was this way, and then after dating Erykah Badu, it had this permanent, mostly positive effect. Erykah Badu has denied this. Common has even joked about it, referring to the Erykah's box, which is, I have to admit, is a little unfortunate. Personally, I do think dating Erykah Badu would be an amazing experience, but I'm going to keep my thoughts on that mostly to myself. So, do I think that dating Erykah Badu is having some transformative effect on these men? And I'm actually going to say no. And I think it highlights something bigger that young black people, specifically young black men, have to deal with. My theory is that a lot of these guys, and not only these guys, but black actors, black musicians, just black artists and creative types in general, there's a box that you have to be in. And I think this is especially true for black men who were coming to age in the 80s and 90s. And no, I'm no longer referencing Erykah's box. I'm talking about a figurative box. And basically, that box is that you can't be a hipster. Uh, you can't be openly creative. There's a certain way you're supposed to act, a certain way you're supposed to dress, a certain way you're supposed to express yourself. And these guys weren't allowed to do that. I think what Erykah Badu is like is a really good talent scout. And what I mean by that is I think she was able to see a thing in men, and those were the type of men she's been attracted to. I think one thing, for example, one thing she said that really stuck out to me when someone asked, "Well, what are you doing to guys?" And her response was, "I listen to them." But I think, in addition to that, listening to them, she's allowing them to be who they want to be. Because, for example, if you're white, there's so many things you can be. You can be into rock, you can be into theater, you can be into grunge, you can be into classical, you can even be into jazz, you can even be into hip hop, but you're always going to be white. But for young black men, especially black men who are my age and younger, to be interested in punk, you're now kind of compromising your blackness. And to want to wear cardigan sweaters and scarves, well, in the 90s, it's kind of, it was something you weren't exactly maybe allowed to do without getting catching a whole lot of shit, if you will. So I think what was happening is that a lot of these guys were just feeling comfortable with being themselves, being able to kind of express themselves with their fashion, to be able to explore the music that they were always interested in. There's an interview, or actually a couple of interviews that really stick out to me with Big Boy, of course, of Outkast, where he's talking about Kate Bush. And I'm also a fan of Kate Bush. I've been a fan of Kate Bush since I was probably about 10 or 11. But I think he's talking about Running Up That Hill, which is a song that was made popular again by Stranger Things. And there is a certain passion in which he talks about this song and just Kate Bush in general. And you can tell he's a huge Kate Bush fan. And apparently he was exposed to Kate Bush by his uncle.
This is like one of my all-time favorite songs too. Music is supposed to evoke emotion, you know what I'm saying? It makes you feel a certain way, you know? Just that's what the vibrations are. It's not stagnant, it's not just plain or whatever. Every time you listen to it, it just touches you, strikes a chord. I was introduced to the music by my uncle Russell, and he's kind of like a weirdo, like of the family. Was a skateboarder and all kind of things. So I was like, sixth, seventh grade, and I used to ride my bike to school and just listen to it. And then I just got deeper and deeper into it. That's one of my biggest musical influences. I love it.
I don't know how often Big Boy, when he was in high school, I can't remember if he went to high school. He either went to high school in Savannah or Atlanta, the Atlanta area. But I don't know how comfortable Big Boy would have been with talking about Kate Bush um, at the lunch table in high school. Maybe he did. Maybe he could talk about it. Maybe did he go to an art magnet school? I don't know. I could have looked these things up. But either way, I know that there's a lot of people that, especially in the '90s, if you were a young black man talking about how much you like Kate Bush, you probably would have, like I said, caught some shit. So yeah, you see this time and time again where you'll have as black men become older, especially like I said, the artistic types, and they become more comfortable with expressing themselves, and not saying that you're not going to catch once again shit for that, but you begin to care less, and also times have changed. I think another thing that happens with a lot of artists, black artists, men and women, is honestly, I think there's a whole lot of undiagnosed neurodivergence amongst black musicians. I think when we often see rappers, for example, in interviews, having this behavior where they're not making much eye contact, where they're answering with one word, two word, one sentence answers, where they're looking away, where their general physicality and mannerisms is awkward. And it's not even just black music. I think we see it with Eminem, but the whole idea, having the conversation that Eminem could possibly be on the autism spectrum, that's a conversation that people have been having for years, and it's some people just assume he is. Uh, some people say maybe. Until he admits it, why say it? And I'm not trying to diagnose anyone here, but I do think that when we do see these young black rappers and musicians in these interviews, and we assume that their mannerisms, their behavior, and how they're conducting themselves is just kind of an affectation, something they're trying to put on to play a role. Maybe that's just something that they've learned to deal with anxiety. Maybe they were kids with ADHD who were told so many times to calm down. Maybe they were kids with ADHD who were told so many times to pay attention and why do you always forget things? And what we're seeing now is the effect of that. And maybe they were kids who are on the autism spectrum who just feel uncomfortable, like so many do, and that's just their way of masking it. Anyway, just something to think about.